About 2 out of every 3 people alive have felt this exact thing, and almost none of them know what it really is. It arrives on the most ordinary moment imaginable. A friend pours a glass of water. That's it. Nothing about it should register. And then the floor drops out, because you have stood here before, this exact second. The tilt of the glass, the sound of it filling, the light in the room, all of it, already lived, in precise detail. But here's the part that makes it eerie. At the very same time, you know, with total certainty, that none of this has ever happened. 2 facts, both screaming, both true, both refusing to give way. That contradiction has a name, déjà vu, French for already seen. For a long time, people reached for ghosts to explain it. A glitch in the matrix, a premonition, a memory leaking in from a past life, a sign that something in your head had finally come loose. It's none of those. What's actually happening is stranger, and it's much better news. That drop in your stomach isn't your brain breaking. It might be the clearest proof you will ever get that your memory is doing its job, and doing it well. Sarah, you're the one who mapped what that half second actually feels like from the inside. What is the body doing right then?
Yeah, so it's not really a thought, it's a jolt. Something in you goes, wait, I know this, before you've decided anything at all. The skin does it first, a little shiver, the hair lifting on your arms, and then you start hunting. You go looking for the memory, the actual when and where, because the familiarity is so loud there has to be one. And there's nothing there, just an empty drawer. Then the moment moves on, and you're left with this strange little letdown. You couldn't place a single thing.
Okay, so the feeling arrives first, and the memory it's promising just never shows up. That gap, right there, that's the whole mystery in one sentence. Because your memory isn't one machine, it's 2, running side by side. One of them is familiarity, a fast, dumb signal that only ever says one word, known. No details, no story, no timestamp, just a green light. I've met this before. The other is recollection, the slow one, the one that pulls the actual file, where you were, who you were with, when it happened. Normally they fire together, and you never notice. You walk into your kitchen, familiarity says known, and recollection instantly hands you 1,000 mornings to back it up. They agree. Agreement is silent. You don't feel a healthy memory any more than you feel a healthy heartbeat. Déjà vu is the half second they disagree. Familiarity fires, loud, certain, known, and recollection comes back with empty hands. There is no file, so you're left holding the pure signal of a memory with no memory attached to it. Which is exactly the empty drawer Sarah just described. So why would the green light switch on for something genuinely new? The cleanest clue comes from Anne Cleary, a memory researcher at Colorado State, and what she found is a little unsettling. Show someone a brand new scene that happens to be shaped like a scene they saw years ago and have completely forgotten. The same layout, the same arrangement, a hallway that bends the way an old one bent, and the new scene feels familiar. Déjà vu familiar. The old room is long gone from conscious memory. But its shape is still on file, so the present moment quietly matches an outline you can't remember ever drawing. Familiarity says known. Recollection has nothing to hand you, and the alarm goes off. But matching an old shape only explains why the signal misfires. It doesn't explain why it feels like an alarm at all, why it stops you dead instead of just passing by unnoticed. And this is where déjà vu stops being a cute little quirk and turns into something your brain is doing on purpose. Peter, you looked at what's actually firing in there when this happens. Why does a simple mismatch feel like a warning?
Because it is one. Deep in the temporal lobe, right by the hippocampus, sits the part that stands watch over your memories. Think of it as an auditor. Its entire job is to check that a familiarity signal is backed by a real, stored memory. And familiarity mattered. Once. Known meant, I have survived this before, so it's probably safe. Which makes a false known genuinely dangerous. If you trust a familiarity that was never real, you're trusting a map that was never true. The auditor will not allow it. So when familiarity fires and no memory backs it up, it throws an error, flags the signal, rejects it, and that error, felt from the inside, is déjà vu.
Wait, so the eerie part, the thing that makes it feel spooky, the thing that stops you in your tracks, that isn't the glitch. That's the correction. That's the sound of the lie being caught. Peter, one more thing. So if that check never ran at all, you'd just quietly believe the false familiarity? You'd feel nothing?
Exactly. That's the unsettling part. The comfortable, silent version of your brain is the one that lets false memories slide by unchecked. You'd never know, because it never complains. Déjà vu only happens because the check is loud enough to reach you. It's not a system failing quietly. It's a system that would rather bother you with a strange, spooky jolt than let one wrong known pass. The discomfort is the feature. A brain that never gave you déjà vu wouldn't be calmer. It would just be worse at telling the real from the almost real.
So the feeling you'd want to switch off is the one thing protecting you. Good, great. And we know exactly where it lives because sometimes that region speaks up entirely on its own. In temporal lobe epilepsy, a burst of abnormal electrical activity in that precise spot can trigger déjà vu as a warning aura. Seconds before a seizure, the same "I've been here" washes over the person, cranked all the way up. Now go the other direction. Put a gentle current straight into that stretch of tissue in a lab, and you can produce the feeling on demand. Same place, every time. Alan Brown, who gathered up nearly every theory of déjà vu into one review, kept landing back on that same patch of the brain. Which tells you the feeling isn't drifting in from anywhere mystical. It's built right there, in the memory machinery. The fact checker, briefly showing its work. Now roll all of that back 100,000 years. You are an animal whose life runs on one question, asked over and over. Have I been here before? This waterhole, did I drink here safely last time? Or did something wait for me at the edge of it? That valley, that ridge, that stand of trees. Getting the answer right was the whole difference between finding food and walking into a trap. But a memory that cheerfully says, yes, familiar, when it's wrong, will walk you straight into that trap, smiling. So you would want a system that doesn't merely feel familiarity. You'd want one that audits it, checks the file before it trusts the map, and the descendants of the animals with the pickiest auditors are the ones sitting here today. You inherited the alarm. Sarah, there's a mirror image version of this, isn't there? The same two systems slipping the other way.
Yeah, and it's just as strange. Stare at a plain word too long, say it out loud over and over, and suddenly it goes dead in your mouth. The letters look wrong, foreign, like you've genuinely never seen them before. That's jamais vu, the exact opposite. Same two systems, just flipped. Recollection swears you know this thing, and now it's familiarity that refuses to show up. Déjà vu is a stranger who somehow feels like home. Jamais vu is home suddenly feeling like a stranger.
Same machinery, two different ways of catching itself. So the next time the floor drops out, a friend, a glass of water, the light landing at that exact angle, and you get that shiver that you have lived this before, don't reach for a ghost. What you're feeling is your own memory system catching a signal it doesn't trust and refusing to let it stand. Not a crash, an audit. The one department in your head whose entire job is making sure that what feels true actually is. And if it runs that check on a moment this small, this ordinary pouring water in a quiet room, then think about how often it must be running everywhere else. Quietly correcting, quietly editing, keeping your whole story straight without ever once asking your permission. You only notice the single time it lets you feel the alarm. Every other time, you just call it remembering.